Welcome back, and today we are flying out a partial F-16 OCU. It's a new squadron vehicle that you can invest into, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword that I'll try to get into more today. The F-16 OCU is on paper incredibly overpowered. We're looking at a 12.7 Block 15 F-16 that is pretty damn capable. There's some of the best flight performance in the entire game, even rivaling planes at 14.0, 14.3. It gets 6 IR missiles only, 4 of which can be Magic 2s or AIM-9Ms, and 2 of the pylons can only be AIM-9Ms. I'm going to be rocking 4 Magic 2s with 2 AIM-9Ms, because the AIM-9Ms are better at the top-down shots where you try to ambush people, which is a main thing of this playstyle. But the Magic 2s are just incredibly good at close range poking, which is my preferred way of killing people in this thing. Of course, the orbital striking is very good when you do get in position, but it's very inconsistent. A lot of maps now have high altitude, so you start contrailing at like 3.5 to 4 kilometers from the deck. A lot of maps just have clouds all over the map, meaning that you can't really come from the top down without exposing yourself completely. Because when you do get spotted in this thing and people have radar missiles, you're essentially out of the match. So I decided to use Magic 2s and just barrel stuff them. They're incredibly agile, and the acceleration is of course off the charts. Very often it doesn't leave them any chance to react, unless you of course shoot it from straight ahead. But even then, most people don't react in time. So today you're just gonna see me hide in the terrain, have the radar off, and just try and ambush people. You really have to play this like a horror game. Now if you do get past the head-on, if it's a 1v1, you cook about everything you can run into, especially at 12.7, and the missiles are incredibly good for the BR. The issue is that it's incredibly difficult to actually get into a good position to use them, because this plane, offensively speaking, it doesn't really have much going for it. If you have flown IR only planes at this BR, you know it's incredibly frustrating to navigate the map. If people see you, if you get spotted and multiple people with radar missiles, if it isn't an AIM-7, start looking at you, you can basically count yourself out of the match unless they're all close enough to the point where you can start dogfighting them. Because even a 2 or 3v1 in this thing, if the enemy isn't also in the Gripen or an F-16, is not actually that difficult. You just want to keep a modicum amount of speed, keep it at about 850, 900, and you will outrate essentially the entire lobby. And it doesn't matter if it's 1, 2 or 3 people at the same time. If they're all bunched up, you're gonna have a pretty easy time just straight up murking them. The issue is that this doesn't actually ever happen. It's either 1v7 or 7v1, and in both cases you don't have much going for you. Now sure, if you drop in and those 6 people are all on the deck, you dump 6 missiles and you get 6 kills, and then you 1v1 the last one. Yeah, theoretically this thing is an absolute beast, but in practice it doesn't really work. And you know, you might invest 8,000 GE into it plus spading the thing, or you might invest months of actually grinding it for free. You end up with an investment that might actually not be worthwhile. Despite the fact that this thing in practice isn't that fantastic, I cannot imagine that this thing doesn't actually go up in BR, because in the full down tiers this thing is an absolute beast, and there really aren't any Fox 1 slingers that can actually touch you. Also looking at the F-16A in the French tech tree, it's 13.0 and it only has AIM-9M, so the chances of this not going up are pretty slim. I would not invest into it if you aren't familiar with top tier, if you don't like F-16s, and you have the nets, you have the F-16AM, and yeah, the Magic 2s are incredibly fun to use, and I'm a big fan of them on the F-16 platform. When it comes to actual Araby at the moment, this plane just kind of falls out of place. It's as under-tiered as it's over-tiered, and it can't really go either direction. So I would say move it up. Now let's take a look at the actual gameplay. We have the F-16 Block 15 flight model. It's slightly worse than the Block 10, but it's pretty close, pretty comparable, and player skill will make the difference. So you will be able to out-dogfight basically everything you run into, like this F-14 over here. Now he's not going particularly quick, and we have an F-16 coming from behind, so we go past the merge, we get past the head-on, and we're gonna go into a raid. Now I don't want to lose too much speed, but I also don't want to G-lock constantly, and I'm gonna set up for the F-16 while turning into the F-14. F-16 comes in, going Mach 12, we keep turning into the direction of the F-14, and slowly but surely we will start outrating him, even though we're going way too quick. Now yes, I could have played this a little bit differently. I probably should have shed a little bit more speed to kill him just that bit quicker, but I thought it's only these two guys, and I'm just gonna dodge the F-16 one more time. We see the ER coming off the rail in the background, and we should be able to kill the F-14 here, dodge into the multipad, and unfortunately for us, it doesn't end up working out as I planned. The ER was just that bit farther away, and it made me actually miss the window of the multipad, and I paid the price for it. Yes, I actually died for the second time in the same video, but it's all about showcasing the performance. When I die and I actually have something to show you, I will of course include it in the videos. What I should have done there is pay a little bit extra attention to the Su-33, pay a little bit more attention, maybe check once more for the ER, and I would have completed that turn with relative ease. And the F-16 and the Su-33, when you're flying an F-16 Block 15, are really not that big of an issue. Now, would I have survived that match overall? Probably not. There's still like 6 other people alive. I was almost out of missiles. I'm on the other side of the map. So probably wouldn't have ended well anyway, but I definitely could have played that a little bit differently. Use the terrain to block 12 Phoenix missiles, and we just go into the vertical. Can I go flat? Sure, but this is a little bit more energy conservative. I have 5 minutes of fuel, this is the last guy, and I'm going to one turn him anyway, so might as well just play it a little bit more flashy. We're gonna turn in right here. The F-14 has absolutely zero chance when it comes to dogfighting an F-16. And you all probably know this, but even with the wings out, it is not gonna be cutting it. Let's take a look at some enduring confrontation. Here, the ranges are pretty big, and after flying around for about 5 to 6 minutes, I finally see someone that's on the 6 of my friendly, and I start to investigate. I see 2 dots and I'm coming out of the heavens. I don't have any radar on. Use the magic 2, he doesn't see it, slams him straight up the ass. F4J notices actually that there's someone behind him. I am locking him at the AIM-9M. I know that suspension tracking might actually hit him, but he's slow enough to the point where I can simply switch the guns and send him straight to the Shadow Realm. Now I hope he doesn't create a forest fire over here, but for now we are just going to disengage. I don't want to be anywhere near where I just was. Now I did notice that MiG-23 on the RWR for a second. I was going up. I should not have done that, because if this guy shoots an R24, chances are that I straight up die. So I'm going into the multipad and I'm going to allow this guy roughly on my 6. I want to start on the defensive posture because he doesn't want to run away then. And I just want to show you how good this plane is in a dogfight. I'm not even tapping negative elevator. I'm G-locking constantly, and I'm just full sending it after this ML. And even though he started on my 6, I turned this ML into my bitch in approximately 2 turns. And I'm not making fun of Raiden over here. The plane itself is just completely outclassed. So if you think I messed up this fight, in a way you did. You probably should have shot an R24 at me if you had one, but you probably didn't. And after that merge, after you get your one gun solution, there's just nothing you can do. It's not up to you, it's up to me to make the mistake. And even though I didn't play that perfectly, because I'm just full sending it, there's just very little you can do once I get past your nose cone. Then we get locked onto by an F-16, and I do see the contrails on the right, and I have my suspicions that it might be him, but I don't know which F-16 it is, and I'm not really risking getting multi-pad splashed, misrolling the missile, or whatever might happen. So I'm actually just going to take my time and fly towards the water for 2 good reasons. You can use the bank or the shore to actually block the missiles physically, or you just multipad over the water, and that's just a lot more reliable. So I'm intending to use this ridge line on the right, and I notice that the lock actually breaks. I don't see the contrail anymore, so I'm suspecting this guy to be relatively low. I don't think he's sitting at 4.5, 5,000 meters. I think he's gonna rock up at like 2. And there he is. I'm sitting at low altitude, going slow. He's diving in 12,000 kilometers an hour. It's a net. He doesn't have radar missiles. I don't have to be careful. And because I'm going so much slower, I stamp on the elevator. We lock him up. Radar slave the magic 2. Bada bing, bada boom. You're straight back to the hangar. There's nothing you're gonna do about it. When you dive on someone, you don't want to go 1400 kilometers an hour, because all that's going to happen is you're going to fly perfectly straight. I'm going to turn into your 6 basically instantly, and at that point that missile is 100% going to lick your ass. And personally, I'm not a massive fan of it. F-18 shows up on the horizon. We went back to the runway, rearmed, refueled, and now we're just going to use the terrain here to block the missiles of the F-18. Now, is this particularly scary? No, the F-18 is very good in the one circle for 1 or 2 turns, and after that it starts to fall out of the air essentially. So for now, I just want to use the terrain. We're going to use this to multipad. Missile flies way behind us, and we merge with him. Now we're going much quicker, so I do need to be careful that he doesn't end up doing to me what I just did to the nets. He now has position on my 6, I lose control, and I need to make sure that I actually flare whatever he shoots at me, if he doesn't end up just aim 7ing me. We go low here, we almost kiss a tree, and we go underneath him. But he actually goes so slow that I almost misjudge the entry of that loop. But after that, we get past his nose, and it's done deal. He's going way too slow, he saw his wing off, and he of course gets taken down by the Mirage. We then kind of fly around, F4S appears in front of us. Not much to show you here, but it's just the end of the game. And I wanted to include all of them. He gets severed. I try to use my radar lock. I try to use smoke to attract his attention and try to 1v1 him. And I know it's an F4S, but I just want to show you how helpless it really is. But he didn't really pay attention, so it doesn't really matter. He's a match filled with clouds, and normally I just radar slave people so I can actually shoot them the second I get a lock. And for some reason, some clouds you can just shoot straight through. But it's very annoying. You're not really able to get your heading. You don't really know where everyone is coming from if they aren't spotted. And just like right there, that time I wasn't actually able to lock onto him. Why? I have no idea. Kafir disappears into the clouds, and I'm expecting him to turn around, and a turning Kafir is a slow Kafir, so I gotta take my chances, turn around and re-engage him. Only 1.6 kilometers, not really able to get a shot off. He pulls a little bit too tight, and now I'm flying into multiple people that weren't really spotted. Now luckily none of them really saw me, but now I'm spotted, and I'm expecting more people to start converging in this area. Kafir pitches up, starts shooting missiles at me. F4S is flying away, but I'm just gonna send a magic at him that should probably just about reach him, especially if he makes a turn like that. F4S is out of the lobby, and then comes the F4S. And an F20, we go into the roll. Missile misses by a landslide. Go into the second aim 7. We start the roll just a little bit too early. We lose a little bit too much speed, and we actually manage to get hit by it. Now, this is actually less than ideal. Asymmetrical damage, black nose. I'm gonna lose a lot of energy, and I'm going to have to actually fine-tune the flight path because of the asymmetrical damage, losing me even more speed. So I'm trying to build up a little bit of energy here while still turning in a little bit. I'm gonna merge at about 800, and we just need to send it over its nose. Now, very sketchy right there, but I'm losing so much speed that I'm starting to cut inside of his circle. We need to get out of the loop right there. He barely misses, and now, I mean, if you're not gonna move, I'll take it gladly. Straight in the cockpit, back to the hangar. And then we just kind of fly around. We use our TWS to spot people, and then we actually find the MiG-23ML. Now, I'm going to turn it on and off occasionally. I don't want to have it constantly beaming my position away to the enemy RWR, so sometimes I'll turn it on. Now I start to get within 6 kilometers. I'm actually gonna lock onto him and tell him I am here. Is this the best course of action? No, not really. He might actually see it now and flare the missile, but at this kind of range, Magic 2, it's relatively reliable. And I'm just trying to get interesting fights because I'm in a down tier against the Kafir and a MiG-23, and I know that the Kafir doesn't actually have radar missiles, so I wasn't too worried about that turning into a 2v1. If anything, I would have liked it, but unfortunately the MiG-23 just ended up flying straight and taking it right up the ass. Kafir, same story. I just want to make sure that he knows I'm here. I let him bomb first, he turns around, he engages me, and I'm just going to show you how helpless this really is. I go into a bit of a corkscrew, and he just instantly falls out of the air. It's incredibly fun to play this plane and just bully every airframe that you'll ever see at 12.7. But at the same time, getting these kind of matches and getting these kinds of fights are incredibly rare, which is a bit of a shame. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one, which is a bit of a monster match that ended a little bit unfortunately.